we're actually bringing out some truths, peel back the layers of all this fluff.
Shining the light on this industry as a whole. Maybe you should stay away from it.
Hi everybody, welcome to Real Estate Raw and Uncut. This is episode 123, I'm pretty sure. I wrote it down. I'm Byron Lazine, he's Tim Beret, and this gentleman is Tim Macy. We've been jamming for quite some time. Thank you for
a couple years now, I think.
Coming on the show. You know, so the power of video and social media, you're an awesome contributor to the social media community.
I try.
Tried using a bigger word there, but I couldn't get it out. And
it's early.
They escape you. Sometimes the big words escape you.
But this is the first time we've actually met face to face. But the power of video and Skype and all these different things, it feels like we've known each other for a long time. So you're in San Antonio.
Yep, in the great independent Republic of Tejas, Texas.
Why don't you tell everybody that's watching a little bit of your background, and then we're going to jump into how you can flip single-family homes, because you're flipping a whole bunch of them.
Unlike the workshops you may see in town, we'll try to give you the real raw and uncut version.
The raw and uncut version.
Flipping houses the best we can in a short amount of time. But I got out of the Air Force about 3 years ago, dove into real estate because I decided I didn't want somebody else to be in control of my paycheck ever again, and I was lucky to kind of network and meet with the right people down there. Guys who have done a ton of business for the past 20 years down there. Got to learn from them, and we've just been flipping, sourcing investment properties, which is really the name of the game down there, is finding the deal. Everybody in town watches too much HGTV and wants to flip.
Every town.
But the name of the game is finding the good deal that actually makes sense.
So you make the money on the buy side.
You always make the money on the buy side. And so we specialize in finding those, sourcing those deals, and then buying them. Either we'll rehab them ourselves or we'll sell them to an investor that can go ahead and flip. We do a lot of owner finance down there, which is a completely different beast, which I'm not sure how that would work.
We won't get into that.
That's a whole other topic.
We want to show everybody that's watching exactly the basics, the 101 version of flipping a house. There's obviously a lot more detail that goes into it. It's not that easy. But Tim, you gotta show the people more than your back here. Cody, you're the guy that's supposed to be coaching them on that stuff.
Come here. Nobody wants to see that face right there, you know?
You brought up a great point on the numbers. It's all about that upfront number. Did you buy right? Do the numbers make sense? Before Tim goes, what would you be looking at in terms of advising a client on a flip?
It depends on your objective. You know, are you flipping? Are you holding to, get that revenue stream? What's the market like down there? You know, do you have enough buyers in that location that are actually looking to own, or are they, is it an investor that's going to purchase it from you that's going to rent it out?
So you're looking more at, is the market absorbing this price range in which you're looking to
what is the market?
Right.
Really?
What is the market?
What is the market? Is it the single family, is the person that's got the 9-to-5 job, or is it the investor that's renting to somebody that is more a renter?
What's the market look like where you are right now?
It's hot. It's very low days on market.
Hot, baby.
Low inventory. But even with that being said, there are markets that are better buy and hold markets that have higher days on market. And then there are other markets where things are flying off the shelf, and if it's a good finished product, you can't hold on to it. So even though overall San Antonio is a great market to be in, you still have to know your pockets. You still have to know what your days on market are. You still have to know, where the jobs are and everything like that. So
who's in your typical single family flip? Who's your buyer?
It all depends. I mean, we have such a diverse economy down there. There are a lot of different types of buyers.
You're focusing more on the lower price range, am I correct?
Well, we started to. There's just a lot of people that like doing the big, pretty expensive stuff, and those tend to be higher risk.
Sure.
So, we'll try to find those, and if we do, we have plenty of people that love to take on those projects. We found that the easiest and least headache are the ones kind of in that 110 to to 180 range.
Which is
maybe.
that average price point, or is that
Our
lower
average
than
is around 220.
Okay, so that's
it's just
below average.
below average. And if you put out a great product, that looks fantastic, and you put it out at 160 or 170, I mean, you can't keep it. You know what I mean?
Right,
Everybody's
okay.
looking for good stuff at that price range.
So you guys you're sourcing a property. That's important.
Yes.
You find the property first. Now you're calculating how much work needs to be done to that property.
Yes.
If it's financed, which I'm not sure if you are. or
We
you
don't,
got-
but
you
a lot
got-
of our clients do.
If you did, now you're concentrating on how much does that cost you per day?
Yep.
What's the absorption?
Yes.
How long is it going to take you to sell this product? And then it becomes a math problem.
Yeah, it's got to be numbers on a spreadsheet that makes sense. You can't walk into something and get emotionally attached to it.
Absolutely. That's the mistake I made.
That's the mistake everybody makes.
Yeah.
It's like you go to these seminars, they say, just take action and all
Right.
that stuff, which is great. I'm all
Sure.
for taking action.
Yeah.
But you have to take responsible action and practical action. You can't just walk into a house, see the big Victorian columns, and say, I'm going to surely make money on this, and dive
It's
in.
really like
So-
any business you're in. If you don't have a business plan for your real estate business right now, it might not just be house flipping, you're just going to end up with whatever you end up with. Kind of like if you just go into this thing without the numbers in the spreadsheet, as you would say, and decide to flip a house, you're going to go bankrupt is what's going to happen,
Look,
right?
Exactly.
You're doing well now, right? You've gotten to a
We
point
do
where you're
pretty well, yeah.
How many deals are you doing right now?
We have like 12 deals under contract. We have 4 that I think are actively selling to other investors, and we're flipping 3 right now.
So you got to the point where now you've got some consistency. I think people out there, they probably want to know what are your failures? You know what I mean? Because you got into this and it's not, I'm sure.
Well, I was lucky enough to kind of be broke when I started, so I didn't really have any money to go lose.
Gotcha.
But what I
Your
did
risk
do,
was low.
Other people's
right?
money.
Yeah. What I did do was I bugged everybody that knew what they were doing in the
Okay,
right way,
right.
and then I could just latch on to somebody, and then I talk to you. I talk to as many people as I can. I never turn down coffee,
You got around the right people and you took the right meetings.
and so I've latched onto them.
But
pretty much.
through those conversations, you had this spreadsheet, this game plan, this business plan that you adhered to on every single deal. Am I right or wrong? Tell me how it went. To be
So
truthful.
I think that everyone should do that. Whenever you go to flip a house, I mean, we could talk about like a general rule.
Yeah, I want
of
to do a
thumb,
general example for them.
But it's just that it's a rule of thumb. If you're basing your buy on a rule of thumb, you're going to have problems. If you're basing your buy on just seeing it and having a good feeling about it, you're going to have
Absolutely.
problems. I mean, it's okay to get something under contract, having a good feeling about it and everything else. But
'Cause
if
you gotta
don't-
move quick
Because you got to
often.
move quick,
Right.
yeah. But if you don't have a spreadsheet and you don't know your numbers, that's the biggest thing too.
Did you have that from day one?
No,
That's-
no,
you
no,
didn't.
no. No,
So
I've
you-
built 3 or 4 different ones, and I have one that kind of works, right? But
Yeah.
your spreadsheet depends on your labor. Who are you
right.
using for labor?
Right.
Are you doing it yourself?
And if you've never done
You
it
hiring
before, you have to build that
you don't
out.
even know what the numbers are. So if you have the time, it's always good to try to latch on and figure out a way to add value to somebody that's already doing it.
Yeah.
I
And
agree
hopefully you can take some of that knowledge from them.
Because they probably have a system, they probably have a plan, they probably have a spreadsheet that they're already doing if
Oh,
they're
yeah.
having success. And if
Yeah.
you latch on to them, you're going to learn what they're doing and be able to implement
Everything.
that.
Yeah. So if you have a guy at the front of the stage telling you give him $20,000 and he'll teach you how to flip houses, I would not recommend that.
Absolutely.
If you
Completely
have
agree.
somebody in town that's doing it in your market,
Yeah.
and you want to learn how to do it, I would figure out. I mean, for me, the first deal I did was one. I told everybody I was interested. I went to every networking event there was, right? And I just went out and said, I'm a real estate agent and I specialize in investments. I mean, a little bit of a flub because I don't really specialize in anything. I wasn't doing
Now you
anything. I
do.
just got
Now
my
you
license,
do.
right?
Now you
Yeah,
do.
but I just got my license. I knew it's what I wanted to do, and so I just pushed at it as hard as I could. And then somebody brought me a deal and said, "Hey, this guy needs."
Somebody
this-
brought you a deal that was not on the MLS or Zillow, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, we don't buy anything on MLS down there. It's just too competitive.
Absolutely. So many people, not to stop you, but so many people come up to me, call me, text me, whatever, want to get a flip. I want to get a flip. you know, I've been looking on Zillow, there's nothing there. You're never gonna find your flip on the MLS. It
Not a
doesn't
good one.
exist. Now,
Not a good one.
now, a great way to do it is somebody that wants out, maybe researching the tax records of somebody that owns 30 properties in your area. You might want to go to that guy. Where are you having pain? What's your bottom 10% homes that are giving you pain? I'll take the deal off your hands, do owner financing, and then get maybe a good deal out of it.
That's a great example. The guy was, he had a rental property in a historic district, but it wasn't keeping up with the rest of the rehabs that were going on. And he just got laid off, needed to get rid of this house, needed to cash out. And so somebody brought it to me. Now, I didn't know what to do with it, right? I mean, I could have tried to go at it myself and maybe fall on my face or maybe make some money, I don't know. But instead, I was able to connect it to an investor.
Added value.
Right? Paid me $1,000, which in hindsight today, I mean, isn't a lot. But I got to sit there. I watched this whole project. I latched on.
$1,000 is worth the 20 that you could have spent in a seminar.
Exactly.
Right.
So, and I know how much he made. It's a lot more than I made, but I don't feel like I lost out on that deal. That's, you know, the first one I did and got my foot.
Of course you didn't. You just bought yourself $20,000 of information.
You added
30,000
value.
yeah.
What you did though is you added value to somebody else.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, which
And
is
then
the name
your
of the game for
education's
all of us.
invaluable.
Absolutely.
So
Your
that's
education,
awesome.
the monetary value doesn't mean anything. So let's break down, go through a scenario, a basic ABC scenario. I'll do the math
So,
of what you're looking for
what-
in terms of if somebody wants to create a simple spreadsheet, a simple how-to flip a house.
I don't think there's a simple spreadsheet.
Right.
And if it's a simple
Simplify it
spreadsheet,
as much as you
you're
can
probably
for us.
going to have problems because you have to put your financing in there, right?
Yeah.
Some people are using hard money, some people are using cash,
Correct.
some people are using, you know,
Of course.
private
Yeah.
money.
We have our investor template that's, yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And so it depends on
On
who's
the
doing it.
situation.
And one of the things that I always recommend, I mean, I see people all the time, I want to learn how to flip houses, how do you run your numbers? And I always tell people, it's like, you have to build your own spreadsheet. Not that you can't use mine, but if you build your own, you'll get a little bit more intimate with those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have somebody like yourself check them for you.
Right.
Or you send it to me, and I'll look at the numbers and make sure you didn't miss anything. But the only reason I know my numbers so well is because I built like 4 of those spreadsheets trying to get it right. So
real quick, I'll try to give you, and you tell me if I'm wrong or not. Let's do a quick. So
do a
one of the
quick
first
scenario.
things, let's say, so you find a property, right? Let's say
Okay.
it's in the 200,000 range. Okay.
Here's my house.
There's your house. So
All right,
first of all,
200,000.
you got to
That's
figure.
expensive for this guy, but go ahead.
Right, you got to figure out. You know, you get it at 200,000. How much is it going to cost you to rehab?
So this is
What's
the
it gonna-
purchase price.
What's the market saying? Like, what you've got to figure out is your market. That's a $200,000 property, but if you rehab it, what can you get out of it? Is
Okay.
it 350? And how much is
now
it
how
going
much
to cost?
how much you put in? Let's put the reno in next. So what are you going to put into this thing?
Let's say it's 50.
Okay.
But let's say the 50 that you got, you don't have the money, and it's hard money, and it's going to cost you.
You guys are setting up for what we call the rule of thumb pretty easy because I see, I mean, 5 or 6 deals a day come in my inbox, and I can't like dive into those numbers every time. So one of the rules of thumb I use on a regular basis is what we call the 70% rule.
Okay.
Basically, you want to buy things at 70%. In theory, if you do, you should make money.
Okay.
Now, so what you would do is
So you'd be looking to cut this number down to 70%.
No. I take. So
That is
what's
your purchase
so if you take if we're gonna sell at 350, right? We want 250,000 divided by our 350, which is our sale.
So you want to take this number. You got the calculator going?
whatever your all in is, right? So
So you're going to be, this
So
is
it's
your
going to be 250.
projected sale
So 350.
price.
So it's just going to give you a spread.
yeah. So this is a 71% deal,
This is a 71% deal.
right? Because 250,000 divided
Those
by
numbers.
250,000.
You're
So-
off by 1%.
Right?
Jeez.
Pretty close though, pretty close. So this is a good rule of thumb, especially in this higher price range, that number grows on the same hand, your risk grows.
Yep.
Right.
But this is what we would call a 71% deal. So you have to figure out kind of like where your market is. Down where we're at, it's like 70s and 75s. If you get anything under a 70, I mean, it's a screaming deal. Your numbers may be wrong, but jump on it.
Jump on it.
Yeah.
But what happens is, okay, looks pretty here,
Yep.
and then I realize that my foundation's sinking and I need to I need
Not
to
only
lift the
that-
house and do a new foundation and
Yeah, I may be the guy trying to sell you the house, right? I may say, Byron, look at this deal, 71%
Right,
deal.
that's really good.
It's great, right? You trust me, right? Trust me, you should buy this thing. When really, this number is more like 80, and this number is more like 320,
Right.
and all of a sudden you're
That's
losing
just-
money. So
How
that's where this
often-
is a rule of thumb where it should give you a feeling or not of whether you should really dive into it and research it.
I think the issue around here, I mean, because maybe in a San Antonio or somewhere you have more deals, the density is a little greater.
Yeah.
So
a
here
big city.
we don't have that. So what we're forced to do is look for those spreads over
Yeah.
time and really say, okay, in this area, the most that a property of this caliber has ever sold for has been 50% above market.
Yep.
So we start calculating what that renovation could be. My big thing on this number here is if you are borrowing that from somebody else, how much is that per day? What are your hard
So
costs?
that's where, like, if somebody's using hard money in our market, where I think days on market are a little lower and everything.
lower than here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, guys are doing, I'd say standards about 3 points and 14% or so on hard money loans. And if they're buying 70% deals, as long as they don't completely mess up the rehab and spend too much, they usually make money.
Right.
So that's where that's kind of that, like I said, that rule of thumb. They can usually do pretty well if they're around that number, but hard money costs eat up so many deals.
Because then your absorption, you think it's a 2 month, 2 months of inventory.
Yeah.
But then you get out there and you put it to the market, maybe something happened.
Not only that,
it becomes 6.
yeah, the banks are taking 45 days to close everything anyway.
Right.
So
How often
on
are
the
you able
short
to get
side.
into your properties to kind of double check this number best you can, do an inspection?
always depends. We've bought them sight unseen from
Yeah.
landlords in California that have tenant occupied properties, and we just buy them because they can't handle the tenants.
That's right.
So we buy and we have to bake that discount in. All right, we're going to have to evict this person. We don't know what type of shape it's in. So those are all numbers that you kind of have to like give yourself a contingency number.
On that deal,
Or-
you probably never go hard money because you don't know how long you're going to get that tenant out.
So
How long it's
we're
gonna take?
in the position to close on everything without using hard money.
Perfect.
So what we'll do is that's a good example. Is that was a great rental property for somebody. It's in a great rental area and it's right near all the military bases. Just bread and butter, 3-2. So landlord owns it in California. Nobody will buy it from them sight unseen, but we can put a discount in there to buy it sight unseen. We buy it from them. We close on it. We clean it out. We don't renovate it, but we clean it out because there's a bunch of dead fish and stuff in there. It was horrible, man. The most disgusting smell I've ever had. But anyways, we clear it out, and now an investor can come in and feel much more comfortable buying it. We bought it with the risk at a discount, so we can afford to still make money on it when we sell it.
You're a
to the
little
investor.
advanced because you're getting these properties before even the investor community gets them, and you're just making a rip
Yes.
off of them,
Yeah,
essentially.
pretty much.
Yeah.
That's a good
Because you're
model.
buying solo.
Yeah. And we have so many things we can do with it. See, you know, if you want to flip houses, I know a lot of people that are very successful in doing it. They have very successful house flipping businesses. They've systemized, and it's fantastic. I look up to those guys. We have a little different business model where there's so many things you can do with a property. If there's a $20,000 house in the south side of San Antonio, right, that there's no way we're going to flip, we can owner finance it, right? We can sell it to an investor. It gives us so many more options.
So now you have
Well, we
multiple
can close
revenue
on it.
streams coming in.
Multiple revenue streams.
So
yeah.
your risk has been diversified because you're in different.
Yeah, it's really not great to get into because I'm going to totally break the numbers that we were just talking about when I say that, like, we do know when we look at something where we're going to buy it low enough where we know we're not going to lose money on it. We probably make some money because we have so many different strategies.
Sure.
But if you know your strategy, you really need to know your strategy going in and make sure those numbers work. But we tend to buy things low and say, hey, I know we're going to figure something out, a way to make money with this thing because
Love
it's
it.
worth it when we buy it.
I love it.
So.
What are you going to do when the market turns? Because it's going to.
Well, so the market turns. Right now, I go to somebody's house to like make them an offer and walk through the process, and they have a stack of postcards and letters from other people trying to buy investment properties. It's
course.
nuts. I mean, the workshop started in San Antonio, right? Like the model, all that stuff started in San
Yeah.
Antonio, so it's crazy. So when the market turns, in theory, it should be easier to buy, should be a little harder to sell. but it should be a great time to build the rental portfolio
That's what I was thinking.
and build up some of the owner finance notes. Yeah, so that's my plan, is to kind of build capital in this time, and then I'm kind of waiting for a market to turn a little bit,
Yeah.
because it's a little crazy down
Opportunity.
there. Yeah, and then when that comes up, hopefully I have some financing and private money available to go just grow the rental portfolio.
Good
Good
stuff,
stuff,
man.
yeah.
Really let everyone know where they can find you if they've got a question. We didn't get too much of the whiteboard activity, but hopefully you picked some stuff out of that
Good
conversation.
nuggets
'Cause
there.
It was good conversation, and if somebody wants to find you, ask you a question, or just kind of connect with you on social, where
Yeah,
should they
I'm
find you?
Tim Macy, just like the store.
Just
And
like the
I'm on
store.
Facebook, so if you got Byron on Facebook, you can probably find me. Terrell Macy Group is in San Antonio, and you can find our website, terrellmacygroup.com. So.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much,
thanks,
man.
guys. Thanks for
Appreciate
having
your
me.
time.
Good talking to you.
See ya. Flip that house.